Hi there, today is Friday, April the 24th. Yesterday you had to read chapter 17, which wasn't hard because chapter 16 left us hanging of the story of Miss Franny's great-grandfather. And so in the story, we find him at home. Well, what used to be home? No one's there. Mom and his three sisters died because they got typhoid fever. Dad was died from wounds he had received in the war. A lot of people were suffering during this time. There were, whether people were at home and they were fighting or whether they were in the war fighting, there was a loss all over the United States as a result of the Civil War. So he's sitting there thinking, what should I do? So he says, you know what? This world needs something sweet right now because it has been a sad time for all people. And so with that, he makes a decision to open a candy factory, and he takes off walking. Now he's in Georgia. He comes to Florida, where we're currently at in our story, into the city, and all the way there he's trying to figure out what he's going to do and how he's going to make this candy factory. And so that's where we're at. And he made the litmus lozenge. Now both Amanda and Opal said, oh, is that building, that's kind of old and spooky looking? And she goes, that's where it used to be. Yes, that's where the factory was. And she said, here, I have one. I want you to try it. So they both opened up their wrappers and they tried a litmus lozenge. And it was good. The flavor was kind of different. Opal described it with root beer and strawberry kind of flavor. She couldn't figure out what it was, but it made her think about something sad. And Miss Franny said, you've experienced sad. And she said that is the secret ingredient, is their sadness in it as well. It was good and it was sweet, but if someone's experienced sadness, then they would be able to kind of feel that sadness whenever they had the lozenge. So interesting story, but it made the family really rich because they made lots and lots of candy and it sold for a long time. So if you would turn to page 17, we're going to do the fill in the blank. You were supposed to do it yourself, but we're going to go over the answer. Okay, on number 1, my cat has the peculiar habit of licking her tail before she eats. Okay. Number 2, Rory had the crazy notion that eating pickles for breakfast would make him taller. Do you think that would work? Nah, I wish I'd eat lots of pickles. The next one, number 3, I was feeling rather melancholy after my team lost the championship game. Remember, melancholy meant deep sadness. I mean, if you get to the championship and then you lose, there's a lot of sadness. The next one, my best friend Jared just enlisted in the Army. And the clothes were manufactured in a small factory in Asia. And the last one, I have an abiding interest in animals and hope to become a veterinarian one day. And abiding was constant or always there, something they wanted. A little extra at the bottom. Would you cross that out? You don't have to do that. Just a little bit. You don't have to scribble. Turn a page to 18, sorry. Let's look at number 4. It was a long answer. When Miss Franny offers a litmus lozenge to Opal and Amanda in chapter 17, she tells them the secret ingredient in it is sorrow. Choose 2 characters from the story and explain what has caused them to feel sorrow in their lives. There's a lot in this story. Opal, for one, she feels sorrow because she doesn't have her mom. The preacher, he doesn't have his wife anymore, which is Opal's mom. Gloria, she felt sorrow for all the things that she'd done in her life. She felt sorrow because she was losing her eyesight and couldn't read. Otis, he felt sorrow for the animals because he knew what it was like to be caged up. And even when Dixie seemed to be sorrowful, you couldn't leave him alone. He didn't want to be alone. And so you may have even come up with someone else in the story. There's a lot of characters in this story. And so you just have to write 2 and tell me what their sorrow was. Make sure that you have that finished. Okay, going on to page 19, you need to summarize chapter 17. In 16, we said that Litmus had lost everything fighting in the war. And in chapter 17, he created the litmus lozenge. So that's what I put, that it was created for that. That tells me that part of the story. I can look back and I can go, oh yeah, I remember that part of the story. All right, so that's going to do it for today. With our time together, you are going to need to read chapter 18 today. On 18, I want you to answer, on page 18, I want you to answer number 2. And on page 19, I want you to do the summary for the chapter after you read it. We'll talk about this next week. You have a great weekend.